Imagine that I taught on a sunny day and the sun's beating down on you, and all of a sudden, bam, bam. You hear that sound, and you see off in the distance green silhouettes go down. No, you're not in an alien land shooting down aliens in some video game. You're on an Army shooting qualification field. Today I'm going to show you the required steps in order to become an Army qualified marksman. I've been in the Army for 2 years now, and I've done dozens of qualifications in my time. Numerous weeks of learning about how to qualify with a weapon. I know you're thinking it doesn't apply, but the techniques really can apply to you while you're driving and stuff like that. Today I'm going to take you through the type of equipment used, the different shooting positions, the techniques of how to shoot, and the possible outcomes once you're finished. The right equipment for the job. No matter what job you're doing, you need to have the right equipment. We use a M16 rifle, A4, which is right there, with a 5.56 millimeter round. The target's a green plastic silhouette right there in the bottom corner. They're about 4 feet tall by 2 feet wide. The types of personal protective equipment, or PPE, used is the Kevlar helmet, and also the IBA and the LBV, which is basically the IBA is a individual body armor, and the LBV is a load-bearing vest, which carries all your ammo. The 5 fundamentals of shooting are breath control, sight picture alignment, trigger squeeze, body position, and cheek to stock. Sergeant First Class Hubbard of the U.S. Army is quoted to say, if you miss one of the 5 fundamentals, then you'll miss the target completely. That's how crucial each fundamental is. Breath control, that's your breathing cycle. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Your sight picture alignment is you align the front sight picture with the rear sight picture to the target. Your trigger squeeze, you don't want to pull the trigger, you want to squeeze it slowly so it almost goes off as a shock to you. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez of the U.S. Army said that the weapon should go off unexpectedly, and it should almost be a surprise as it goes off. Equally important is your body position, correct body position in the corner. Should be comfortable in order to concentrate on all other 5 fundamentals. It's like driving a car. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to drive good. Cheek to stock, which is right there in that picture, it means that you have the same cheek to stock position every time you shoot, no matter what. You have your same position of your cheek to the butt stock. The shooting positions, there are 3 different shooting positions that in the Army you shoot from. You shoot from the prone supported, which is where you have a sandbag or other object underneath your weapon. The prone unsupported, which you just basically have your elbow on the ground. And the kneeling, which is where you take a knee and you have your elbow on your other knee to support your weapon. If everything goes the way that it should, you should get a pretty good score on it. It's out of a total of 40 points. If you get 23, anything below 23 is failing. 23 to 28 is a marksman. You get a marksman badge. 29 to 35 is sharpshooter. 36 to 39 is an expert, which is right there. And 40 out of 40 is a Hawkeye, which barely anyone gets that, and I couldn't even find a picture of it. That's how rare it is. If you get, So today I've told you about how to shoot an M16A4 rifle and what it takes to be an Army qualified marksman. Also told you the type of equipment that's necessary to use and the possible outcomes that you can have. That's it.
She is here, right? All right. So you're our first person who actually gets to speak today. Could you offer some comments, please?
Well, the stapler definitely woke everyone up. Is that very good attention device. You know, get everyone's attention to the sound of a bullet. Of course, not that accurate. Your qualifications in the Army make it an expert presentation, so you understand what you're talking about. You went into great detail on equipment, including acronyms and other things that we wouldn't, us civilians wouldn't actually know about. Your visual, you use visual statistics on breathing technique and read off pictures, which is really nice. It means that you understood everything that you're talking about. None stuff, just a few flaws here and there on the flow of your presentation. Kind of stops sometimes, but otherwise it's a good presentation.
All right. Hang on just 1 second. All right, I like the introduction too. I thought you got a nice dramatic action, got everybody involved pretty quickly. You identify the subject immediately. You have a very clear thesis statement. You lay out the structure very well. So everything in the introduction goes really well. Now, when you get to the body of the speech, some things are okay. You do a good job defining terms. I think the visuals describe the equipment pretty well. But when you went from the equipment to the second section, it was like I had no idea that you were done with that for a second. You just went right into it. There's no transition material moving you from one point to the other. Also, it's a little bit of an inventory on each of those sections. In other words, we're getting a little bit, well, here are the 5 things that are in this section. Here are the 3 things that you need in this section. Here are the 6 ways that you do this, and now I'm done. You need to give a little bit more explanation. Like you were talking about the picture citing, for instance, and I'm going, okay, and then you're done. You didn't explain what that all means, how it works, what somebody would be looking at, and I thought that that's some of the detail that's missing from the speech that would make it more interesting. Your personal experience, I think, would be one of the other things that would make it more interesting. You do this good job at the beginning, setting up why you're talking about this, why you're credible to talk about it. And then we don't get any stories about it, about your being on the range, how you tested, what was difficult for you, how heavy the equipment was, what the feel of that shot is like when you were in the situations there. There's no personality to the information. It's just data that you're giving us, and so as a result it's much drier than it ought to be. And I thought you did a good job setting up and creating an anticipation for that sort of thing, and then there's just not enough payoff on it. Structurally it's easy to follow, except like I said, the transition, sometimes it just seems like you move from one point to the next in a steady stream of information. Because you set it up in the preview, we know what's coming, and because you've got the visuals, we can see how you're moving from point to point. But if you're just listening to what you're saying, it flows together, so you have to maybe give us a little bit more division there. I thought that the images are nice and large. You make pretty good references to them during the presentation. You've got all the acronyms, for instance. I'm wondering why the acronyms are more appropriate than just saying the word. And what is it, the LVV? You know, okay. Why do we have to have a vest that bears a load, for instance? What's that load consist of? Why do you have to wear it when you're doing the testing? You know, that kind of stuff. That's all stuff that gets left out of the speech. You got, like I said, again, technical stuff, but you don't have the story or the explanation or the narrative that goes with it. And then it's a little dry in the presentation, like I said. You're not quite reading, but you've left out your personality in the presentation. And then at the end, and I'm basically done, and I hate that exit line. You go back to your thesis. So just now you know what it is that you have to go through in order to qualify as a marksman in the Army shooting range. There you go. All right, thank you.